Hey, kids! It's me, Johnny Fox, here at Snikt. And, hey, look at that.
Evening.
As if by magic.
Good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elliot, is it Bauer? Bauer?
Bauer.
Stardust?
Yeah, call me what you want. I'm easy.
Bauer, did you say?
Yep, Bauer,
Yep.
that's it.
Elliot Bauer of Three of Swords.
That's the one.
If anything else?
No?
Well, hey, tell the kids at home a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Elliot. I'm bass player for Three of Swords. I've been doing music now for, many years. I may only look 25, but I'm really in my early 30s. I started playing guitar at 16 and started playing in bands at 18. I've been in a couple over the years, all different kinds. It hasn't always been sort of the grungier stuff. I've been in indie bands and blues bands and all kinds of different things. Always a bassist, though. I think bass players get chosen. It's not something you pick. Bass players get chosen.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I've found that in my experience, in my past life as as various band members.
Yeah, it's one of those where there's always that. I think it's always the guy that is the quieter one who'll always end up picking up. But I love bass, so I don't have a problem with it. I love playing it, so it's all good for me.
So do you find that? So what you should pick up the bass first? Is that the
Guitar.
first instrument you went to?
I went to guitar first. I played guitar for years. Pretty much every minute I got was sat with a guitar, trying to get good at it. And then when it got to the bands, there was hardly any bass players knocking about. So I said, "Go on, I'll go." And that's it, and the rest is history.
Do you know that's exactly the thing. For the longest time, I thought like every time a band goes to shit and I'm bandless, that like guitar players are 10 a penny. Good ones, not so much, but guitar players, 10 a penny. So like, if you're going for an audition, you're up against so many fucking other people and what have you, or just nobody needs one. Everybody's got a friend who plays guitar, and if you're starting a band or needing a guitarist for your band, you just know someone, and it just happens like naturally. You don't really advertise for guitarists, but bass players, there's times when there's just a drought, when like everybody's looking for a bass player, and it's like, how hard can it be? I'll learn bass, and then I can be in bands, and it's like marginally cheaper than drums, so I could probably sell a guitar or trade a guitar, one of the guitars for a bass, and I could do that, but never actually quite got around to doing it. Probably totally the wrong reason to really do it. But
I mean, I believe that it's a shame that there isn't many more. It's such a great instrument. It's a great thing to play, and let's be fair. You're literally a riff machine when you're in this sort of style. So it's handy. You're playing some really cool stuff, and I think it's criminally underrated, the bass guitar, and I feel like more of us.
I always tried, especially in the three-piece outfits, the power trios that I was in. I don't know if that's a genre as such or whatever, but that setup I love. I will always love when it's done well. I think that three-piece rock band can be absolutely fucking phenomenal. And I always my writing style certainly regard both lyrically, melodically, and the guitar parts. I was obsessed with leaving breathing space, room to breathe, because I just loved when the drum and bass really sink in. If you get two people and they have that rhythm section telepathy and it's just going, like I said, the engine room that's really driving it. And if you've got a bass player who actually plays, who doesn't follow the root notes just to pad out the sound, who fucking plays bass, I love listening to that. And I wanted to leave like all the space in the world to make sure that you're hearing the bass parts. Leave gaps, leave space, play a lot. I played a lot of like staccato riffs, hoping the bass would do little diddly twiddly bits in between and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And when I had a bass player good enough to do that and shit, I was like, yeah, this is, you make the kind of music you want to listen to. I
that's
think,
it.
I think, I did. Anyway.
And I think when you're playing in a band, everybody has different sort of influences. Like I'll honestly, one of my main bass playing sort of people I base my own style on is Paul McCartney. Not really a grungy guy, but nonetheless a fantastic bass player who does all the runs and the licks. And I like that kind of stuff. I like playing a bit more than just your root notes and your basic stuff. I
Yeah.
like to be able to move them down the a little bit. So for me, that and of course John Entwistle,
Oh.
who I wish I could be, but nowhere near. That guy, something else.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you get, if you've got three huge Slayer fans in a band, guess what you're gonna sound
This
like?
is it.
You know, I like you gotta have a common thread, obviously, but yeah, if you all venture into different territories in your listening, which will inform and influence your playing, I think you get a better band at the end result.
That's it. And I think like with us, we kind of have all different sort of things that we like. Like I know Sam, our guitar and lead singer, he's like a massive Queens of the Stone Age fan. So a lot of stuff that he can do is very much in the Josh Homme sort of style of thing. And I know Jack's a massive Alice in Chains fans. And again, it's that same sort of trying to marry all these different sort of influences that you've got in something. I think I can pretty much confidently say we all like Nirvana as well. So it's trying to add some of that you all like into the mix. It's one of the best things about being in a band is just coming up with something that is a little bit, that is original, but still got something that you can all recognise.
And I'm probably late to the party as I usually am, having only just been put onto you guys. How long have you been together?
We formed in 2019, so just
Great,
before COVID.
great timing.
Sort of,
Phenomenal.
Sam and I played in a band years ago, sort of a bluesy stoner thing called Electric Spider Club, many moons ago. And he was looking for a bassist. He'd met Jack, and we started coming up with the ideas of the stuff for 2019. And of course, COVID hit, and we didn't do anything until it sort of eased off 2021, 2022, and we started gigging, I think, late 21, 22, so to speak, around that time. And we've been gigging ever since, just kind of playing for 2 years, just kind of building ourselves up and getting our sound sounding good. And yeah, we've been definitely doing it a good couple of years. Doesn't feel like it though. Feels like it's only been last
Yeah.
week, but it's been nearly 4 years, so it's going quite well at the minute.
So what's the songwriting process for Three of Swords? Does someone turn up to rehearsals like, "Hey, I've got this new song. It goes like this," or
Yeah,
is it a very collaborative,
usually,
jammy?
yeah, it's usually Sam usually brings the most of because he's very good at coming up with really sort of intricate riffy bits, and he just brings in something, and it's kind of going like towards a classical piece with the differences in it. It's fantastic. And go, right, guys, let's have a go at this. And then every now and then I might show up with something, and we'll play that out. And Jack will also bring stuff in as well and put in. I mean, it's definitely we'll provide something per person, but then we all sort of chip in to try and mold it into a Three of Swords sort of sound. And it's like I've always said to people before. It's like we'll bring an idea, then we'll kick it about amongst each other in the practice room until we can get something that sounds like what we're wanting, and we're putting our own little spin on it in our own little way per person.
So do you tend to come up with those that musical structure and then go away and add lyrics after?
It depends. I mean, usually it's mainly the music that comes first. It's mainly the sort of we'll jam out the song, or we'll be in the middle of rehearsing the set, and we'll just start playing something. Oh, we like that. We'll get that recorded down, and then maybe the week after we'll take it back when we've got 5 minutes, and then sort of do a bit more to it. And Sam might say, "I've got this idea," and then one of us will just throw out some lyrics, and there you go. Usually, but I think in most cases when it's a song that we've all individually brought, we've already got an idea of how it's going to go anyway. Sam will provide us with a track that he wants to do, and then he'll come up with the lyrics a week later, and he'll say, "I've got lyrics." So it all depends. There's not really a set thing. They just appear however they do, and we just take them as they come.
So would you say so also then lyrically, would you say there's any sort of like predominant theme or message from Thea? So like I am quite
Yeah,
a political band, or is it just like
yeah.
arty
We
stuff, like just cool words, or
it's
songs
very.
about boyfriends and
It,
girlfriends?
it we try and stay away from politics. It's always a bit of a murky area, though. We have had a track that was a little bit tinged politically, but we don't play that anymore. So yeah, it's one of those. You kind of got to be careful what you want. We want everyone to have a good time
Yeah,
when you want everyone to enjoy it. We don't want people thinking that they think like this or they think like that. It's not really what it's about when you're playing in a band. You're doing it because you enjoy it and you're having a good laugh and a bit of fun. But yeah, no, we don't really stray down the politics route. But we do. Our sort of stuff is based on how we're feeling at the time.
yeah,
Really, like I mean,
yeah.
Sam's stuff is how he's feeling, and with me, it's what I picked up doing that week. Like one of the songs we have that I wrote is called "Consume You." It's about serial killers. I mean, what else? Not really the most pleasant of subjects, but when you're watching a lot of Netflix crime documentaries, it's got to come somewhere. It's got to come out.
Obviously not pro
Oh
serial
God, no,
killers.
no, no, pro serial killer, or just. See, in my head, it was that idea of someone sat in an interrogation, like someone confessing they'd done a crime, that kind of thing. That's kind of where that sort of idea came from. But yeah, we've got all kinds of different things, but they're usually towards a more darker side of life. Not too many happy ones, unfortunately.
So obviously, I can already gather like far too many to really list, but influences band wise, just throw me, three or four. Yeah, your favorite
Uh, I,
bands.
I think for us, definitely Alice in Chains had a big influence. Queens of the Stone Age had a big influence. I think as well we also had Black Sabbath. Definitely had some elements of Sabbath in there. Nirvana. I think for me personally, Nirvana had a big impact on me in this band, like writing and how you approach sort of how, not to say how much Kurt would do it, but how he, I like the way he does it because he makes it simple, and sometimes that's all you need. Less is more, in a way.
It is one of the things I always all the bands I was ever in. It was always original material, but obviously learning to play the instrument after a fashion. I I learned my favorite songs. I learned covers
Yeah,
in your bedroom. They're probably the same for a lot of people. If you don't pay for guitar lessons, if you're a self-taught kind of a guy, you buy a book, or depending on your age, you download some tabs and shit off the internet or whatever, and you learn to play, or you try to play some of your favorite songs. And something that got me really early on, stuff like a lot of the early grunge stuff. Or I hate that, grunge. It's not a thing. It was never a thing. There is no fucking genre called grunge. It's a strange fantasy media invention that describes a bunch of bands that all sound completely fucking different to each other. So how can they all possibly be the same
yeah,
thing? Which is
yeah,
exactly what they did with the punk bands. They call them punk, and like the Damned, the Buzzcocks, and the
yeah.
Clash sound absolutely nothing like each
But
other, but they're all
yeah,
punk. I mean, it's an attitude. It's a
exactly.
philosophy. It's the funnily enough, I'm going to do the Kurt Cobain quote that I think is just it's liking and accepting anything that you like. It's freedom,
Yeah,
and that's what the grunge bands had in common from the punk bands, and that's something that I really latched onto. But then what I did was learn to play some of these songs, see how ridiculously simple and easy, and how I needed around 2.5 chords to play some multi-platinum selling
yeah.
hits. So I said, fuck this, I'll write my own. If it's
This,
that easy, it's easy to
this is
write the song. It's another thing to get the platinum hit. But so
Oh
when we
yeah,
started writing, I almost stopped learning. Like,
yeah,
I've got 3 chords. I'll be fine. It's some people sit, in the dark for hours, days, years on end, noodling away, getting really good. I was kind of like, yeah, Smells Like Teen Spirit's 2.5 chords. I know 2.5 chords. I want to be in a
yeah.
band.
It's you look through. Like I've got a small collection of guitar chord books that I've got over the years, all different bands and different genres, ranging from Green Day to Arctic Monkeys. And if you look at just some of the tracks that are in them, some of the more well-known ones are so basic. It's that simple,
Yeah,
you know. How can they come up with something so easy and so simple with it? But it's just something that they always say that you pull them out of the air, as they say,
yeah,
don't they? When you're writing music,
that's
it
it.
just comes.
It's the power of the riff, the
Oh
hook. It's the same for any genre, But yeah, it really is that easy. But it's not. I mean, the whole trying to make a living at this shit. I mean,
yeah,
I'm gonna assume you guys are still trying to hold down day
yeah.
jobs at the same time as do this.
That's it.
It's
Day
it's
job.
it's a
Yeah,
commitment, isn't it?
it
You've got
is.
to
Yeah,
love
there's
it.
day job because we're all in the in the same boat in that respect. But you do it because you enjoy it. That's the main thing. If you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it? But for us, it's purely sort of a release of writing and getting your thoughts out there and sort of just seeing who is interested in listening. I think so. Yeah, we do it mainly for the fun of it.
That's great. That's how it should be. I've said this to nearly everybody that I speak to, like whatever their medium of choice to express themselves through some form of art. Uh, I forget where I heard it. It might come to me, but some wise sage, once put across to me that like not to worry like about fans as such. Like when you started this shit, you had no fans, right?
That's it.
So trying to like win them over, or then trying to like keep them, like everybody thinking, oh, they really like that song. Yeah, don't then make 10, cookie cutter versions of that song. That's a
Yeah.
shit band, They all of a sudden they won't like it as much, probably,
I think.
you know. Um,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I
just
in that.
you got to do it. You make the music for yourself first and foremost, and for fun. And then if people like it, it's a bonus. And we love them and we respect them for liking our stuff, and it's great. And if we have any hope of doing it for any period of time, certainly any hope of trying to make any kind of money out of it or whatever, God knows you need them. But
Yeah.
there's really no need to like pander to them. If you feel like changing your style a bit or whatever, just do it. Like for every fan you lose, now you've shifted direction. You might gain 3 more.
Yeah.
There's
It's definitely.
billions of people
Oh
out
yeah.
there.
There's definitely in what you're looking for. If you want to kind of go down that cookie cutter pop route, I dare I say the P word, but if you want to go down that, then that is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not personally for me and for a few other people, but for some people it is. For us, it's about writing something that means something to the person who's listening at the time. I mean, it's great to get your songs out there and for people to listen to them, and that's fantastic. But it doesn't necessarily have to mean you have to make it, a cookie cutter, similar sort of thing. Everything's bespoke. Like I can pretty much confidently say with Three of Swords stuff, like they sound similar, but I know that they're not similar in how they're structured and how they're written and where it came from. They're all different tracks. Um, but yeah, I definitely agree with that. You don't have to go down that route. Just whoever, if
No.
people enjoy what you've got, then that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
I mean, and I'm going to put on the next broken record that I'm probably going to say on every episode of this. Anybody who's been brave enough or dumb enough to watch more than one is going to hear this all the time. But whatever your chosen medium, you are storytellers, and it's self-expression. It's your voice. whether it's sculpture, whether it's your voice, or whether it's some other medium, it is your voice. And it's 2024, for Christ's sake. So I think it's relatively fair to say it's all been done. But I believe there's still so much wiggle room to do it your way. Because of course there is, because nobody plays bass the way you play bass. You know, nobody takes a photo the way you take a photo, photographers out there, or whatever. It is unique to you. You'll have your inspirations, and they're going to somewhat show through, you know. But there's always going to be that element of you in it, whatever it is that you do, which is going to make it different to anybody else doing it, which is that subtlety, that nuance that is you, could be the very thing, you know, that breaks it, that gets you to go global. That's the thing that people pick up on. Why people choose yours over the billions of others out there vying for his attention. So, you know, do it. Don't be scared of it. Do it, and make sure you do it. The integrity to do it your way, and not worry about it.
That's it. And every band is unique in their own way. Even though you might hear bands that sound like, oh, I think of this band, they sound like this band, but in a way they are unique. It might not be straight away obvious, but it will be there. You know. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think everybody has their own style as well. So if you put three different people together, you're going to get something completely different from one band to a completely different band. If, say, one of their members joined that one, it will sound different because it's a different feel. Yeah, I think that's the magic of it, though. That's the magic of being a musician. It's everybody's got their own sort of abilities and skills, and you bring your own sort of thing to the table, if that makes sense.
No, certainly. So how is the live music scene post COVID? Are we getting somewhere like? Are we still struggling a bit? I know a lot of places have obviously shut down and never reopened. Things like that. Are we getting crowds?
It's slowly. It's getting better, but I think COVID's done a lot of sort of damage to it. But it's started getting a little bit. We've definitely seen a few full rooms in the last year, so it's definitely slowly coming back to how it was before. Whether it will get to that point, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely feel like people are sort of coming back into it now and sort of not worrying as much about going out. So, but yeah, you still it's getting back to how it used to be for me. Kind of. Sometimes you get full days, sometimes you don't. But either way, you're having a good time. So it doesn't really bother you in that respect.
Yeah, I've I've played to the bar staff, the glass collector after everyone's left. We also got added to like an all dayer kind of a shindig, and yeah, really added as in like somehow after the sort of headliners have been and gone, they expected us to get up, and there was nobody there, like nobody really. Everyone, because like the last bus, the last train were like minutes away, so like everyone was like, what's the fucking point in us getting up? But we did. The singer at the time went mental and started trashing things about 2 songs in, because he was like, what's the point, let's go home. And we kind of went, look, we're here, there's gears here, we'll have, like, call it a rehearsal, we'll just jam a couple of the songs that nobody likes, the songs that we usually fuck up or whatever. We'll just, because nobody's here anyway, we'll just do that. And he went a little bit off on one. But it was fun.
I'm always of the belief that anybody can come and see us whenever they like. I'm always grateful when people come and see us. I must be really annoying to say, oh, thank you for coming. I feel grateful that you've come out and seen us. But if nobody wanted to see us, I'd be okay with that as well. At the end of the day, we're there to play, and if you catch us on the way in, that's absolutely fine. We're just there to play. If you want to see us, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. It's all up to you. But yeah, for me, I'll be playing whether it's empty, whether it's full. That's just how we are. We just love doing all that kind of. We just playing. That's what it boils down to. We just love getting on stage and just running through what we've got, doing our set lists, doing our covers. Whatever we feel like that night, we just love it.
Yeah, nice. because again, I mean, I'm out of the game, and I ain't going back. I keep saying this. I don't know if I'm convincing myself as much as anybody else, but I'm convinced it's never happening. I'm not doing it again. This is too much fun, actually. I like doing this. But I've completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, I always thought it's like a 2024 thing. I see a lot of bands, they don't play live. They do a lot of recording, and they have a lot of stuff I can listen to, and it's everywhere. It's on all possible channels and platforms and all that. And then they seem to gig like I don't know, twice a year or something. And it's like, I mean, I get it. It's the world we live in. We have an internet you can reach. You play a gig, like I said. There's Bob and his Whippet turn up, or if you're lucky, you get a room full. You never know, and that's not for everybody. You put it on the internet. You've got 1,000 people easily. You've got the potential reach of millions. So obviously, that's a thing. I get people doing that now, but people seem to be almost exclusively doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what their plan is. Is it like, so we'll put it into cyberspace, and then hopefully, like, we'll get a record deal, and then we'll do the tour.
Possibly.
Rather than do the grassroots kind of thing.
I mean, I remember in COVID, there was one of my favourite bands. They're known as Psycho Stick if you're into comedy metal. Very, very funny band. They had a really great idea. They were on Teams. Not Teams, sorry. They were on what's it called now?
Zoom?
The gaming one. Twitch. That's the
Twitch.
one.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, they started streaming gigs on Twitch so that everybody could be seeing it. Yeah. Everyone could see it. It's all there. I suppose when you think about it, it's not necessarily a bad idea because there's far more people online than there will be down at your local pub if that's what you want, Yeah. So in a way, it might be how bands might be going. It might be going in that direction and we start live streaming gigs. I know we've recorded them on YouTube. We've got full sets on our YouTube channel of us playing at bars in Sheffield and wherever. So it is definitely, I think, heading towards that way. We've got so much opportunity with the internet and how we listen to music with Spotify, Apple Music, and all these different streaming services, depending on what your opinions are on them. But it's so easy to get music wherever you are now, and especially for gigs. If people are watching them online, that's going to put your listener base up massively, depending on where you share it.
Well, you just going to have to take my word for it, kids. There's nothing like a live rock show.
Oh no, I agree.
There really isn't. I've known people, and it's it's not their thing. They like music, but they like, it's not bad music, but different music. They like radio friendly, middle of the road. They're okay with their whatever the current pop star du jour kind of is, and even if it's just a local gig with local bands, could be my band, your band, never mind if I can drag them out to a proper gig. But even a local gig, and I've had people just be like, if there's a reasonable crowd, so you can get a bit of an atmosphere going, and you can see them, like a bucket of water in the face, how it hits them, washes over them. They've never felt this. They can't explain it, but it's good. They didn't know that they liked it. Now all of a sudden they're like, so tell me, this rock you speak of, there is more of it, yes? And it's like, all of a sudden they're converted. Like one gig, one half decent, half full bit of an atmosphere gig, and they're on it.
That's it. I agree. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I was saying with online, and that's maybe how we're going. But watching a band live is something. It's a fantastic thing to witness, especially when you see, especially in older bands, sort of a larger than life characters that you could see. Whether it be if you're a fan of Queen, of course, Freddie Mercury being the sort of the poster boy of frontmen, how good he was. But say, well, I would love to have seen myself personally, Judas Priest. Because I think Rob Halford he's like incredible to watch. And it's that kind of performance that I think people sort of get switched on to. It's the characters that they sort of portray. Lemmy is another one, a guy who literally, I always think of him like a rock and roll cowboy. The way that he lived was impressive. And the Rickenbacker felt like a rifle. You know, it was that little daft things like that. But he definitely was a presence. And imagine watching Motorhead live would have been incredible.
Brilliant.
I would love to.
Brilliant. I have my favourite Lemmy quote of mine, kind of relevant to some of what we've mentioned earlier. I remember seeing him on it was probably MTV, or might have been the early days of MTV too. I don't know, but probably MTV. And you know, Nirvana's huge, and Pearl Jam's not far behind, and Soundgarden, Chains, and all that. And you know, Lemmy's sat being Lemmy, glass in one hand, you know, cigarette in the other, and they go, and this woman like goes to him. So, what do you think about alternative rock? And he's just fucking quiet, like he just stares at her, and she's like, alternative rock. What do you guys think? And he goes, alternative to what? There's three blokes with long hair and guitars. It's the same as what we do. And just goes back to drinking. And even as a huge fan of all the alternative stuff, being that like the right age, the right place at the right time when that broke, I was like, he's not fucking wrong though, is he?
No,
know?
he was like a philosopher in a way, wasn't he? Some of the stuff that he would say and what he came out with, you just think this guy, I don't know where it's coming from, but he had like a sort of like, he just knew about life. This guy, he was amazing to listen to.
Well,
whilst
he certainly lived it.
Well, yeah, and he lived it, and he would say all these amazing things and then go and like throw Bomber out on stage. Honestly, that's going back to the whole live sort of stage thing. That's kind of what you go for. These characters that they create themselves and how they become these people on stage, and they're not necessarily real, but they are. I know it might sound a bit of a weird way of putting it.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, it's the thing. I am old, grey, and I really try not to be that miserable old everything was better in my day git, right? But it was. No. No, but I do find the thing, like a lot of what you've just been saying does seem to be missing. I know it's out there somewhere. I know there's a bunch of guys, girls like yourself out there somewhere playing the dog and duck like it's fucking Wembley, you know, Madison Square Garden, and people forget. I see a lot of bands just kind of stand there and play at you, which pisses me off. I'm sure they're out there somewhere, but even when there's new bands and they sold a lot of records and they're really, really good, and somebody puts me onto, you should listen to these guys, and I do.
yeah,
I'm like, just a lot of it just seems like I say, it's all been done, and I just feel like I'm not hearing that nuance. I think when someone says to me, usually 9 times out of 10, when someone knows the stuff I like and they come up to me and go, oh, you should listen to this new band, they sound like that band you like. And when I do listen to the new one, I go, yeah, they do. But because I've got the old band, I don't need these.
Yeah.
What I want to hear is something that makes me go, ooh,
yeah,
what's this?
I think that's definitely,
you know, I don't want to hear a band that sounds like Nirvana. We had Nirvana, so it's fine. There's not that much Nirvana to listen to, sadly, but there's enough that I don't need, you know, some kind of carbon copy because, oh, that was good, let's do that. I want to take the inspiration from Nirvana and find your own path and your own voice, which is what they were constantly trying to tell people to do, alongside constantly telling people that every other band in existence is better than Nirvana, which I always thought was great.
Yeah.
They couldn't do an interview without saying, like, Soundgarden are better than us. Pearl Jam are better than us. The Melvins are better than us.
Yeah,
The Melvins? Who are the Melvins? Check
I think
out the Melvins, kids. Do
I know
yourselves a favour.
you listen to sort of bands nowadays, you can definitely tell where some of the sort of the inspiration comes from. Like I definitely think with Swords, you could probably hear some of our tracks. Like, yeah, that's definitely from Queens of the Stone Age. It's going to come
Yeah,
in.
of course.
I do feel that yeah, for bands, I think we should always try and broaden our horizons musically and listen to other things and sort of take bits from each different sort of genres you get your hands on. I think of bands like Rush, who are something else completely. I mean, it's like, I think I might get this wrong now, but I remember Geddy Lee saying in some form of quote that if you have three sort of inspirations or three bands that you like, you're sort of generic, but if you have 100, you're original. Which I really like the idea that if you take bits of everything from so many different styles of music that you've got available, and let's be fair, we can literally get so much music online now. You could literally make something new. It's just getting it all together and making it into something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think of all artistic mediums, a real power to really hook into people, to get into people's emotions, to change your emotions. It can pick you up when you're down. It can bring you down when you're up. It can help you wallow in it if that's what you want to do. Like embrace an emotion. Which your favorite movie can do that. I think to a degree. We all have like especially if you're feeling down, you're feeling sad. We all have like a comfort food.
Yeah.
Which is literally food, and then we have our comfort. You get your favorite snacks, you put on your favorite film or an album, or staring at that picture on your wall. They can all do it, but I think music. There's something about music that I think seems to affect people. I mean, because we've been doing this shit since we were banging on cave walls,
Yeah.
Or whatever. There's something really hardwired in us, I think, when it comes to music, and it just gives it something extra.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an instinctive element to music, especially if you're someone who plays music instrument, like musician regularly. You'll be like, for me, I play all kinds of different genres, and I think, why does that make me feel like that? Where does that come from? And it's the same with Swords. We'll play something and we'll think, there's something about this that's just really. I mean, usually it's the riff for us. Like, we just love having a really tasty riff to chug out in the practice room or on stage, But it's the beginning of something like, well, where did that come from? Why are we playing this? But you just know it feels good, but it's nice and heavy and distorted. So
I had, when I was doing what you do, not to be some kind of like control freak, I am the band leader, but I had, like anybody I've ever worked with, I'll have always said that I've got like one rule of this jam room. There's one phrase that I don't want to hear while we're here. While we're jamming, whoever's putting it out, that drum beat, that bass riff, this guitar riff, whatever, I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, it's good, but it's not us, is it?"
yeah,
Because
I mean,
yes, it is, because we're us and we just did it, or one of us just did it. Otherwise you that's when you start getting that formulaic, let's do it, because somebody comes up with, because you've been knocking out some like heavy bluesy tunes, and then somebody comes out with this, ballady kind of a thing, to stop and like go, no, and I'm like, no, go with it, see what happens. It may come to nothing anyway. It may just not get, especially if it's a bass or a guitar line. The drummer just might not sink in, just might not get that beat, and put it on the back burner. You might bring it back later at some point. You remember, you play it again and see what happens. But to actually say like, no, that's not the kind of band we are, because I always wanted to be like every band, just jam and see what happens, and we'll keep the ones we like and throw the ones we don't, and then they are what they are.
I love listening to bands who have, especially where they've had like a long, illustrious career, and they've got so many B-sides and stuff that they never released, but then it gets released later on down the line. I always like to listen to stuff like that because I think, well, we see this band as this how they are presenting, but there's another side to them of what kind of style they're doing. You know, like I could say for Swords, like we've got several songs that are probably towards heavy metal with some of the riffs we do, and it's really, really like powerful riffs and sort of the grungier side of things. But then we've got songs that are like quite indie in comparison. You know, it's a bit of it's still us, but it's just a different way of sort of communicating what we're playing. And I always wonder what other bands will sort of come with, like listening to sort of the, I don't want to say off cuts, but like the stuff that didn't make a Black Sabbath album, or, you know, Prince. I mean, he had a vault full of stuff he's never released. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? You know, I know he's obviously a little bit more of the sort of the more pop and that sort of way. But I always wonder what that vault would be full of, and what kind of other stuff Prince could have, because he was
my God,
he was a genius.
That guy could do anything. I'm pretty sure. There's a documentary, the Greatest Night in Pop.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah,
You've seen it, yeah. So the fact that they wanted Prince. They wanted Prince on that song, and they had Prince. They had Prince on the phone. He's willing to do it, and they say no because he wanted to come in and do a guitar solo. But
I mean,
oh no, they want him to sing. I'm screaming like I'm 30 years too late, and they can't hear me. But I'm screaming at the TV like, "You don't say no to Prince! You dumb fox!" You know, like. It's not really that kind of a song, you know, big guitar solo. He doesn't know that. He hasn't heard it yet. I'm pretty sure when he hears it, he'll make it work. Or he'll give you the greatest fucking piano riff instead, more befitting of the song. You know, he's fucking Prince.
exactly.
He's willing to do it. Get him in.
This is it. I watched
him to sing. Morons.
I know. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there was I'm a Beatles fan as well, as you know. So they had the concert for George many years ago, I think after he passed away, and Prince was on it doing "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and he played a song, and even everybody was looking at each other going, "Oh wow, look at that!" Because he just set it off. It wasn't how it was on how George would have done it, but it was nonetheless incredible. You know, he was incredibly talented, and that's I just want to get into that vault. I just want to see what he's got in there.
Yeah. Incredible. From Alice in Chains to Prince, you see, that's how you've got to be. It's a very mood orientated thing for me. Music. I mean, I love a bit of heavy metal. Shocker, look at me. But you know, I'm not that angry all the time. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, some days it's a Nina Simone kind of a day. You know.
Yeah, that's okay. Like for me, if I'm feeling particularly annoyed, Slayer comes on, and I'll have some of the heaviest stuff on my phone that I can find and just have it all playing through. But then some days I'm a little bit more chilled out, and I like listening to reggae. Like I like listening to reggae and more the old school stuff, Bob Marley mainly, you know, that kind of generation. But then some days I fancy listening to some elements of classical. Sometimes it's something else, or indie. I'll go back to when I was a teenager and listening to sort of the 60s mod sort of stuff that I was into at that time, like listening to The Who and bands that I liked in my late teens. Like I say, I don't really stick to one genre. I've got so many interests in all different areas, and it all comes with memories and moods and how I'm feeling and reminds me of and all that kind of stuff.
So I hate the phrase guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
Because personally, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed at anything. You know, I like what I like. I'll tell you what I like. You know, and we can talk about it. We can discuss it. Hopefully, not argue. You know, if you don't like it, that's fine. We can still be friends. You know, like it is possible. So as much as I hate the phrase guilty pleasures, but for want of a better phrase, do you have something? Can I out you now? Is there something in your catalogue that people I mean, certainly I'm meeting you for the first time, but even people who know you might be surprised that you like, or maybe you used to like, maybe it's something from your youth and you kind of moved away. You're not really,
Well,
but
I'm hoping that Sam and Jack are not listening to this right now. Like practice is good. I'm going to get a lot of grief on the next practice we have. But when I was younger, and a little bit every now and then, oh, dude, this is it now. I'm going to have to. Oh, I'm already there. I used to listen to a lot of Robbie Williams. I know some people are going to be like, you don't like pop music. I don't know what it is about Robbie. He seems a little bit more rock and roll than the rest of them, and I'm just like that. He did have a bit of a rock edge to him, which is what I kind of got within his. Not so much now when he was younger, but because I think he went through a phase where he just did not give a shit about anything, and he just said it how it was at that time. And that's what I kind of remember growing up as a child. That was sort of in our house, and we used to get Robbie Williams albums played a lot, and it kind of stuck with me a little bit. But I would never openly admit it. But now I have for a new band.
Now you have. It's on the internet, and it's going to be saved. Yeah, it's like if this is the worst thing on the internet that ever comes back to haunt you, you've had a clean and blessed, blissful life, and you're going to heaven.
You say that, but I can just see next practice. There's just going to be two very angry faces looking at me. Going, don't want to do pop songs. You like Robbie? Is that how it is? I would admit it all. But yeah, it was the rock thing for me that he had a bit of a rock edge in the late 90s, early 2000s when I was young that I remember.
Yeah.
He was very like the anti-pop star in a way because he acted more like one of the Gallaghers than what you would expect him to act like in the public eye. But I used to love those sort of earlier albums when I was young. Not so much now, but back then I used to really in fact, I even tried to get us to cover one of his album covers recently, and they just looked at me with abject disgust, which is fine. I'm cool with that. But yeah, he has got some great tracks from sort of the late 90s, early 2000s. So, but that's me. I'm getting all the text messages now from friends and family. I'm ready for it. It's okay.
But I'm going to try and save you. So, what's been your favourite band that you've seen live? Who's impressed you? Who's impressed you when you've seen them live? Not a band that you obviously you like them or you wouldn't have bought a ticket, but then live gave it like another level. You know,
I've got several bands that I've seen live that I could happily, quite honestly say, all have done some. Have been fantastic shows. First one, Psycho Stick, who I've mentioned previously, one of the sort of more unknown metal bands in the UK, but they're quite well known in America. I've seen them twice when they've been over in the UK, and their shows are absolutely ridiculous in the greatest way. They do slow-mo pits. They do, because it's a comedy thing, it is one hell of a show, and it is always a laugh. The kind of bands that just know what they're doing. They'll say, pick a song from our albums and we'll play it. And it's that kind of feel that you get, like they're just having a bit of fun. And that definitely translates on stage. If we're going to sort of other side, Slipknot live was amazing. Again, it was another one of them shows where I kind of heard a few tracks by them and liked a few of their songs. But when it's live, it's a whole different thing. I can go on. Prodigy. They were amazing live. I know they're.
Oh my God!
Now,
my Prodigy story is this: I saw the Prodigy at the Phoenix Festival, which no longer exists. It kind of turned into the Leeds Festival, but I think for maybe I don't know if it's maybe just once, but it wasn't long. We didn't have too many Phoenix festivals before it went away for a bit and then came back to like Leeds and Reading festivals. And I remember I had like the albums up to that, like really just the first two, I think, were out, and I liked them. I was into it quite a lot, and didn't really know what to expect from listening to the albums. What's a live show for this like?
Something else.
How did I find out? Everybody found out. David Bowie, right? David Bowie had to follow them, and I remember seeing like in the magazines and stuff reviewing it afterwards and interviews with Bowie that Bowie was watching from the side, and when fucking David Bowie's going, shit, I've got to follow this.
You're
what?
on to, yeah.
Then they must have been onto something. For me, I mean, I'm a huge Bowie fan. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but that was like, yeah, I was impressed, but then David Bowie's impressed. So fuck, these guys are going to be huge, and they were.
What better what better thing to have than someone like Bowie liking your music? It'd be like if somebody like incredibly well known came listening to your band and said, "You guys are great." How much of a buzz would you get out of that? I wouldn't sleep for weeks. I'd be too happy. Just too excited and happy about it. But yeah, no, I mean Bowie himself. I wish I could have seen him live, but he was incredible as an artist. Like he did so much in his lifetime, and nobody's ever going to repeat that. Nobody's ever going to repeat kind of the stuff that he did, and how he sort of different genres of music have all sort of took something from Bowie, glam rock. I mean, Nirvana did The Man Who Sold the World. Pop stars have covered him. He seems to have had a reach for a lot of people in so many different sort of genres and directions. He did that himself with doing jungle in the 90s and all kinds of different that you wouldn't expect him to do. Like if I could imagine if he were live, he would be doing something that's what modern pop music sort of thing would be, whatever the sort of the modern stuff is. Like I'm not up to date with it, but whatever is trending now, I would guys had a hand in it in some way, because that's the kind of guy he was and how talented he was.
Oh, for sure. But we've mentioned Slipknot.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put this. I'm just going to put this out there. I'm thinking if I was any good at being in a band or merchandising or promoting a band, then I probably wouldn't be here talking to you. So obviously don't listen to me. But I'm just thinking, I don't know if you'd agree, if I was Slipknot right now, I'd be re-releasing all my old albums, like only slightly remastered with a slightly better technology we've had since the first album came out. But I'd redo the cover art so that in brackets every album can be Taylor's version.
Yes.
They'll make so much fucking money because that's how you make money, kids.
It is. I mean, I've got to be honest, I'm not really a Taylor Swift fan. I mean, I've just outed myself as a
shocker
years ago, but Taylor Swift doesn't really do it for me. But I can see why she did what she did. I get it. It's some of the elements of the music industry aren't particularly nice, and that's one of them. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you do get bands who do sort of redo songs in different ways and sort of re-release them in sort of different feels and different vibes. So I always think it's quite a cool thing. I think we should get Swords to do an acoustic thing and just have like we've tried it out doing sort of different styles and seeing what happens and messing about in the practice room mainly. But like just we think we did a lounge version of one of our tracks just for the fun of it. Didn't record it, just sat in the practice room and just but yeah, no, I definitely feel that any song can literally be reinterpreted any way you want it to be. It doesn't have to be how you've done it.
You should go like reggae.
Yeah.
Reggae ska versions would. I mean, the kind of like, even if it leans towards like the ska punk, like Real Big Fish, kind of those sort of like 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Kind of bands, Mighty Boss Tones, something like that might be a bit too easy to do. It's not as far away as it could be. I think the further away from the original you get, the more interesting obviously it is to a fan who's familiar with your work. But
I mean,
I can see that working.
I mean, say that again. Sorry.
No, I can see it. I can just see that working.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I love two-tone sort of ska, so I liked all the Specials and Madness and all them when I was younger, and I mean, still now I have a very massive love for Bad Manners. I think they're incredible. So yeah, I would love to see us do sort of different versions, maybe make them heavier. That would be quite interesting. Some of the tracks we've got are a little bit lighter, make them as heavy as we can. We've always dabbled with how heavy can we go, and how will it sound if we go heavy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I might have to try and pitch a bit of a ska idea. I would think it'd be quite cool to do a reggae track, but I don't know how far. That's if I'm still allowed back in on Monday. We'll shall see. But yeah, definitely something that I think we should try.
Yeah,
just try and take.
do like you could like do like the Clash. Just have all the same songs, but dub versions of all the same songs, just as B-sides, or as the make it a double album to get out of your contract.
I mean,
By just doing dub versions.
Clash was just something else as well. Like, there's another band that always seems to mystify me. Like, they were a punk band but could do reggae, which was impressive when you think about it. Like, it's not really two genres that to me, don't unnecessarily would go together that well, but they did it. But then you got sort of, like you say, like Real Big Fish and all them. So yeah, this is what I love about music. It literally anything's possible. It's amazing. So
we've probably already mentioned them, but a question I was going to go for, I was going to ask you your bucket list of artists to see. Obviously, there's the artist, there's the bucket list of the ones you've missed. Yeah, like the Motorhead, Queen with Freddie, that kind of a thing. And there's the bucket list now, getting there now. Maybe they're on the last legs, some of them perhaps.
Yeah. Okay.
Who do you want to tick off your list if you could? If you could see them all this year,
As a sort of mixture of who is no longer with us and sort of on the last legs, Motorhead would be definitely one. I would like to see the Rolling Stones before they finally stop because of the history of what those guys brought.
We've got plenty of time. That's never going to happen.
They'll be over 20 years. I'd like to have seen the Beatles originally in the 60s. That would have been something incredible to watch. Bowie. I'm trying to think of some more bands. There's just that many. I can't seem to pick one. Pick pop. They're probably the main ones. I think more than others. But yeah, mainly Motorhead and the Beatles. I think for me, because Motorhead would have been incredible. I did nearly get tickets, but he passed away when the tour was on. I think it was for Manchester Apollo, and unfortunately, so the tickets obviously got took off. But it's one of them. We've got him online, so I can watch as many Motorhead gigs as I can. But yeah, they would be the main ones for me that I can think of at the minute. I'm sure there'll be more. There'll be plenty more somewhere, but at the minute, they're the.
So who's still with us, and you haven't got there yet?
I think I'd have to go and see Ringo Starr because I've seen Paul McCartney. So it would have to. I've got to there's only two of them left, so I have to sort of see the other one if he ever goes on tour. But I'd say Ringo Starr definitely. Who else would I like to see? Queens of the Stone Age. I bet they'd be incredible to see live. Metallica. I would like to go see Metallica. Again, it's one of them. I should have written a list down because there's loads, but I can't think of any at the minute. But they would be the main ones. I think mainly Metallica's because of the sort of how incredible a band they are. And I know some metal fans might say, "Oh, they're a little bit too," and that's fine. That's I get that. But some of their songs are incredible. Like the '80s Metallica is just the best. That's my favourite period.
They are. The few times I've seen a Metallica show, and it's always fun. They are fun. For that, like heavy metal can often be kind of like dour, straight down. I'm maybe because back in the day, Hetfield was pissed all the time. That might have had something to do with it. I don't know, but it always seemed fun. To take the obvious sort of the rivalry, the Metallica Megadeth thing that everybody knows. Technically, yes, arguably Megadeth the better band. The better players, the better construction of the songs and all of that. And they nail it live also. They don't miss a fucking note. They can pull it all off. Everything you hear on that Megadeth record, they can pull it off live. They are also one of those bands that fucking stands there and plays at you, which you can kind of stand there and be in awe of how like actually brilliant they are, or you could go to the Metallica show and have fun.
Yeah, that's
You
definitely.
know, and there might be some bum notes, and they have a absolutely garbage drummer. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not a drummer, but I know what I like to hear, and I've heard an awful lot of drummers, and I've worked with drummers, and well, I don't know if he's a bad drummer, but he doesn't do anything within the realms of Metallica. He does
Yeah,
like the bare minimum, basic kind of metal by numbers drumming that anybody, any local dude who works in the chip shop that's been in a band with me for 5 minutes can fucking do that.
yeah,
I always feel like surely he's capable of more. I mean, just from the experience of drumming as long as he has, you know, both live and in the studio. But he just can't be asked. I don't know. I don't know. But I would love. That's we're talking about like Prince's
yeah.
Vault. I I would like to hear Metallica with another drummer. With a Joey Jordison or a Dave Grohl even, you know.
Dave Grohl is an incredible
He
drummer.
really
I mean,
wish he'd get back behind the kit. I know he does on and off different
yeah,
projects, different guest spots, but not that I don't like his voice or think he's a good frontman or whatever, but he's too good a drummer to be sometimes
yeah. I
I
mean,
feel
that
like he's
would be
too
quite.
good a drummer to be dicking around doing like fucking start another band. Foo Fighters have done their thing. They've been around long enough. You've made your money. Go back to drumming and being a really, really good band.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think if we're going down sort of I don't want to say fantasy football, but sort of like your kind of ideal band setup,
Yeah.
I would have target would how they would do it with say like John Bonham,
Oh,
for example,
yeah.
because that would be interesting if someone like John Bonham did it maybe as drummer for
Because
Metallica.
what I find so weird as a half-assed once upon a time musician is that Metallica have a history of having really good bass players, right? And how you get, and in just my like grassroots amateur level experience, a really fucking phenomenal bass player and a bit of a drummer don't mix, you know? Like, or you think,
You got
or one should push the other into becoming better, you know? Or this bass player's just going to get a bit like, he's going to go off and find a better drummer because they are a
yeah,
unit. It's a thing, you know?
but I do wonder though, in some cases, especially when you talk about the rhythm section with the bassist and a drummer, sometimes if say one is better than the other, it can also sort of still add to something in it. Like I think you say Lars Ulrich isn't great, and I would agree. But I think of Cliff Burton and how amazing he was and stuff he could do.
Oh,
Maybe if maybe old Lars was what he needed to kind of get where he was going, what he was trying to do. If he had someone a bit too technical, it might have lost it a little bit. Do you see what I mean?
yeah.
That's how I sort of see it, sort of thing.
Yes. Anyway,
it's kind of like, yeah, kind of like, I guess that's getting into the like the technical levels of songwriting and really nerdiness when it comes to music.
yeah, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, Metallica shows have always I've seen enough that I'm not that bothered anymore. Not that I've necessarily gone off them as a band or the later albums. It's just getting to a Metallica gig is not cheap, and I was going to say probably not as good as it was the last time I saw them, but they probably still are. To be honest,
Yeah,
I would imagine, and from what I've seen, clips I've seen, it looks like they are pretty much the same as they ever was. And like I said, it's always fun. There's always an energy, you know, which
yeah,
is I think essential to a good rock and roll show.
yeah.
I don't think you just like you said, you can't just stand there and play at the audience. I fucking hate
I know what
that.
you mean. Yeah, and I never know what you mean with Megadeth doing that, because you guys get that kind of vibe with Dave Mustaine. It's that kind of he's just angry all the time about something,
Yeah,
you know. He just annoy
it's
him.
like, I know you're better than me, you know.
Exactly.
It's like to show off for 2 hours,
Yeah.
as opposed to, as you said with Three of Swords, just to get up for fun. Three guys, you know. I don't know if you have any kind of, do you have any sort of like pre-gig hugs, kind of high five
No,
ritual or anything?
I think it's just more of a curtain nod to each other, like, ready, that's it. Yeah. No, there's no sort of ritual. We don't touch the top of the door frame like you do at a football match. It's just,
Yeah.
we're going on, let's go, that's it. You'll just get each other a nod, ready, let's pull. Right, we're just they're very clinical. Just in there, get started, that's it. And sort of
Why not? Why not?
discuss it afterwards when you finish. How did that go? So, my distortion on halfway through. Sorry, lads. There was
Yeah.
one point where I was forgetting to switch pedals on and stuff in earlier gigs. Like I'd miss turning on the distortion. There was a running joke that I'd have to pay a £10 fine. I must owe about 500 now, I think. But I ain't got that money. So I can't give it. But yeah, no pre gig rituals. It's just up, go, play, do what you got to do, kind of thing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids, this is Elliot Bower of original rock band Three of Swords. If anybody's tuning in a bit late, you'll be watching it back on the reels anyway. So, just going to move on ever so slightly. We're going to play a little bit of this or that. I'm just going to give you a couple of things. You can give me one-word answers. We can embellish and go off on one, whatever. No right or wrong answers, obviously. Just a bit of fun. Just get to know each other a little bit better. We're going to start just to give you an idea what I mean. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
No hesitation.
Dog lover.
See, I think everybody I've had on and done this have all said dogs, right? Yeah. Which is kind of, which I know I'm not speaking, I know I've only done this about 8 times or something, but everybody says dogs, and yet the internet is full of cats. All I ever see is cute cat videos. Cats playing ping pong, cats falling off, cats falling asleep, cats jumping in a drawer, cats opening the door, cats. Yeah. And then everybody I ask, dogs. The algorithm's fucked, man. I'm telling you.
No, I know. I think I love
the conspiracy.
My family are all dog people. Like, I don't really know any in my family apart from maybe one person has a cat. But they're all dogs. I know dogs are just, they just want to be with you, and just they're more chill of the two. I think cats, bit of an attitude, but that's me. But yeah.
But I said, cats ever get thumbs, we're all screwed.
This is it. That's very true.
I firmly believe that.
I do.
Anytime you see a cat, kids, they can be hard to pick up, but if you can, just pick it up and give its little paws a little check. All right. If it's a little one, if it's a young one, if it's starting, if it's just going like that a little bit, just be afraid. Be very afraid. The end is nigh. Never mind AI. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Worry about the cats. You'll find the ancient fucking Egyptians were right to worship. Fear and respect the cats equally, kids, just in case.
Yeah, the great with no.
Anyway. So, beer or wine?
Beer. Oh, it's got to be.
No hesitation again.
I like Guinness too much.
Guinness lover.
Yeah, that is my go-to. So yeah, I don't mind wine, but beer is the one. It's, you know, I feel like I've got to be a bit more of a respectable adult with wine. With beer, you can just be yourself. That's how I see it. So,
okay. Pizza or kebab?
Pizza.
No hesitation again.
I say as a big lad, I know, you know, pizza is the OG. Like if you said to me which one would you have for 15 pints, it's got to be pizza, hasn't it? It's got to be
pizza. So, chicken on pizza?
Yeah, I'll have any kind of pizza. I love it. That even the pineapple. I know it's controversial.
Pineapple.
I know people are going to hate it, but I love a Hawaiian. I'm sorry, I don't mind it. It's not a bad idea. Don't judge me for it, but hey ho, I'll have it. Okay. It's pizza, so
not being realistic, money's no object, whatever. City living or country retreat?
That's a tricky one because I like the idea of both, but I'm gonna have to say city living at the minute because like everything's here. Like I, yeah. I mean, maybe one day if I did have money and I could buy a farmhouse out in the middle of South Yorkshire, I would. But at the minute, everything's where I'm at. So city for me.
Okay. Got to get into the nitty gritty now. We're gonna go with the big ones. Star Wars or Star
Star
Trek?
Wars, no contest. Sorry, I no, Star Trek isn't for me. I remember as a kid, my dad used to watch it a lot, and it just wasn't. It just did not do it for me. Star Wars is far much better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's me.
I'm a Star Wars guy. I I I watched the Kirk reruns because it was a thing. It's you pick up, you're younger, it's some kind of iconic thing, so you give it a go. To be fair, I never missed an episode of Next Gen first time round. I was there for it, but when all said and done, overall, I'm a Star Wars kid, and I always will be. So, are you up to date with new Star Wars?
No,
And
no,
how are you feeling with
I've
that?
watched the last two. I've not watched them yet, but yeah, I've Force Awakens I've seen, but I haven't seen the last two yet. So I need to really get time to sit down and to watch them because I know I'm quite a way away from when they were released, but people keep trying to tell me, I'm like, let's leave it there. Let me just leave it. We'll discuss it when I've seen it. But at the minute, let's just yeah. So yeah, I've got to catch up. In fact, I might do that this weekend. There we go. I'll watch them this weekend.
So the next big one. This could be controversial. Marvel or DC?
Marvel. I'm from being young. Spider-Man has always been my favorite. So I don't mind Batman so much, but Spider-Man was always the one I would probably gravitate to as a younger person. So yeah, I would say Marvel.
I'm a Spider fan. I'm a guy. Actually, for me, it's Spider-Man 2099
Yes, that's the
is
yeah.
is actually quite special to me. I like Peter Parker as much as the next guy, of course. Without one, you don't get the other, But when that happened, when the 2099 thing happened, it's just it's a little bit. It was the mid 90s, so everything was a little bit edgier, a
Yeah,
little bit darker. This dude's got he's Spider Man, and all the quips and everything. It's like the reverse version
yeah,
because when he's Miguel O'Hara and then he's Spider Man, Miguel O'Hara is the one-liner, jokey person as he's going around his normal life. When he puts the suit on, he's just a
yeah,
fucking badass, and he's got fangs and he's got talons, and he will rip your throat out. A little bit different to Peter
yeah, yeah.
in that regard, and all those different variants, all the same characters with their futuristic, although we're almost there. It's 2024. All the different, slightly futuristic or like mutated, gender swapped. Before it was cool, um, kind of characters. I really something I really really like that world. I didn't think I would. I was a huge Spider-Man fan, and it's like the fucking with Spider-Man. Why? We don't need an alternate Spider-Man. Actually, we do, and he doesn't get enough love. I really gets these like 5-issue runs, and then they don't make any for like 5 years,
Yeah.
and they make a bit more.
I'll
Like
be honest,
one day, history will tell.
yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I kind of like the villains more in Spider-Man because they've always got that kind of. They always seem to be that bit cooler. I don't know. Like Venom is very cool. Doc Ock's very cool. You know, he's like, yeah, he's Spider-Man. But this guy's got 4 metal arms on his back. That's a whole new level. But yeah, I was like watching the villains and what they got up to in Spider-Man and that kind of stuff. Green Goblin and Lizard. So
Yeah, if we ever get that Sinister Six movie, whatever
I mean, it's
whatever people are thinking, people have kind of these Marvel movies. People have kind of gone off the boil. They're not making the money they used to, or whatever. But I'm personally, I'm still there
Yeah.
for it because I'm a sucker. I'm just like, when I like a thing, I tend to be like that. I'm just like, give me more of it. I'm really easily pleased, you know. And certainly with the Spider-Man stuff, um, every iteration, every live action iteration of Spider-Man, I've enjoyed in different ways for
Yeah.
different reasons.
Yeah.
So they can keep doing it for me, and they keep dropping these hints of wanting to go Sinister Six, and something goes wrong, and they never quite get there. They were dropping the huge hints in the Andrew Garfield couple of
Yeah.
movies. That was definitely the plan. Then nobody went to see 2 at the cinema, so they decided no. Now everybody says Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man. It's like,
Tobey Maguire.
I
I'm sorry.
don't believe you. If you really meant that, we'd
Yeah.
have had a Spider-Man 3 because you'd have gone to the cinema. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that. They only didn't make 3 because it didn't make any
Yeah.
money. But don't come and try and retcon the idea in now that you really like Andrew Garfield because he's good in Far From Home. Yeah, he was good in the films as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tobey Maguire, that first movie is very, very, very special, as it is probably to every Spider-Man fan. The big screen, big budget. However, it's aged pretty well, I
I
think.
think it gets sort of modernized for the new generation every time. Like when you think about the '60s sort of Spider-Man cartoons when you were little, like there's nothing like that now. It's very much a modern thing. They've modernized it, and I think that's what's great with sort of all the other ones like Batman, Superman. They just modernize it to fit modern day, and it works. It still works even now. The ideas and the premises are still the same, but it's modernized, and I think that's pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. I'm the kind of, and until you see Wolverine driving the Batmobile, make my marble,
Yeah.
Sort of a guy. But I'm not that. I don't watch these movies and go, that's not what happens in the book, because it's not the book. It's not supposed to be what happens in the book. It's its own thing. And that level of fandom kind of annoys me.
Yeah,
to be honest, I see the logic. I see where you're coming from, and I respect how much passion you have for your thing and your ginormous stack of books that you love to death and know every word and the intricacies of every panel. And I do respect that, but I don't get how you can't understand that just the movie is the movie. It's its own thing. It's a mishmash of that iteration, and these things are 60 years old or more, and they've been rebooted God knows how many times already.
Yeah.
Literally. So they take, especially like predominantly the MCU takes from like the original sort of 60s, and it takes from the Ultimates universe. Fans know what we're talking about. And it also takes from whatever they're doing right now in the movies to try and be, somewhat on trend and somewhat with modern cultural ways of thinking and aesthetics. And then obviously each filmmaker, writer, and director bring their own twist to that as well. So it's like there's a lot going on to get it to where it is, which is not copying things page for page, word for word. And I've got the pages. I actually wouldn't want that personally. I feel
Yeah.
like I've seen it. I feel like I'd seen it. Then I would be kind of bored because I've
Yeah.
seen it. Whereas when it's not quite right,
Yeah.
because it's not quite how it happens, it's like, oh, they did it that way around. That keeps me more interested.
Yeah, it's a different interpretation. Like one of my good mates, actually, he's massive into Game of Thrones, and I'll be honest, I've never read Game of Thrones. I've not read the books, but I watched the series, and he's only watched so far up to where he's read in the books, and because I don't think he's released the next book in the series, he's not watched the rest of the series. But we've discussed it, and he'll say, "But this wasn't what it like in the book. It was different here. It was different there." And it doesn't look right, and it's like I can see why for someone who loves the books, I can get it. You know, it's obviously not how you've obviously imagined it when you've read it, but like you say, it's a different interpretation. It's different vibe. It's a different thing. Like I've not read the books, so for
Yeah,
me,
I mean,
different.
the thing is, translating a book to screen, whether this is a comic book or a novel, right? The guy, he's reading the book and he's picturing this shit in his head, yeah? And then he's watching the TV show and going, it's not meant to look like that, that's not quite right. But the stuff that he's picturing in his head might be a million miles away from what George R.R. Martin was actually picturing in his head.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
don't know what it's supposed to look like. You know what it looks like in your head.
But no, what
I
he's
know it's relatively well, it's probably like relatively well described in the book or whatever, but still, there'll be a level of nuance that what was in your head to what was in the author's head is going to be different. And for all you know, what they've put on screen might be directly dictated from the author. Because they went, hey, what's this supposed to look like? And he told them. And then he went, yeah, that'll do. Use that one. And then you have the cheek to go, it's not meant to look like that. What do you know?
I mean, you can find someone who looks exactly like how you put it down on paper would be incredible, unless it was based on someone. But yeah, it's one of them. If you can manage to find someone who looks like what you had in your head, that is pretty good going. But that doesn't happen often, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
artistic sort of license, isn't it? You know, it's kind of what they're meant to kind of look like, but it'll work for what we're doing. It's a very, you know, sort of a almost a down version, but it's a different version of a story that was in a book. I don't know. So
I think it's like song lyrics. You know, what you, I mean, unless it's Motley Crue, in which case it's about fucking, you know, and that's sort of, yeah, you were right. Right on the money. How did you guess? If it's Bowie or or someone a little more, you know, eccentric or whatever in their word choices and phraseology, you could be convinced this song is about whatever bananas.
yeah,
That's just how you interpret the words. That's how it feels, how it sounds to you. And most of the best songwriters say, yeah, it is. If you say it's bananas, it's bananas. It isn't. Not when they
yeah,
wrote it. When they wrote it, it's about some terrible childhood trauma. But if you picked up on bananas, then it's bananas.
well,
Fine.
yeah,
Because as long as you fucking like my song, then great. You know?
yeah. It's like you listen to, you say about lyrics, like when you listen to some songs and you kind of see it sounds fantastic and amazing, but when you read the lyrics, you're like, oh, that's a little bit darker than I thought. It was like Pumped Up Kicks by Foster
All
B. For
right.
years, I didn't know what it was about. So I read the lyrics and I was like, oh, that's what it's about. Okay. Didn't sound like that when everybody's singing along to it. It's all upbeat and jolly. Yeah, it's crazy what you can pick up on when you look a little bit deeper, I think, under the hood, so to speak.
It is. It is. Do you remember? Let's speak kind of niche and somewhat local. Do you remember the hit "Baby Bird" single?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
gorgeous
yeah, yeah.
from the 90s. Yeah, yeah. The song that everybody loved. It was a massive hit. It was never off the radio to the point. It's one of those songs the radio kills it. If you did like it, you don't like it. After, especially if you have a job, if you're around anywhere for a reasonable amount of time, like if they have the radio on at your place of work, for example, in 8 hours you will have heard this song like 800 fucking
Yeah,
times, and you don't quite happy to never hear it again after just one, and it's Monday as well, you know, like. But this song, so everybody loved it. You're gorgeous. It's a nice melody. It's a catchy hook. You're gorgeous. I saw people in pubs down on one knee, karaokeing it to their girlfriends, wives. I've seen people like actually literally propose with it because it's not even really subtle. You just have to actually listen to the verses
yeah.
between the chorus. This is a song about female exploitation
Yeah.
and conning a young woman into pornography because she wants to be a star.
Yeah,
in a more legitimate profession and getting used and abused by some horrible piece of shit. But yeah, get down on one knee and
I
sing
think
that song to your beloved.
Yeah, I think that's why I think when you look at a song, if it's a song you realise, I think everybody should take 2 minutes just to nip on the internet and read what lyrics
It's
are,
kind of
just
like,
so you have just to know what
like I say,
you're thinking about.
it's a song that it's right there. Especially like you're on karaoke, so it's written down in front of you. It's in quite big letters, on this fucking screen, and you're copying it and you're singing it, and you're still not getting it. Like
Yeah,
really, it used
no,
to amuse the shit out of me.
I think that's the thing with a song like that though, because it's such an upbeat sounding track. You're not really thinking about. You're just hearing the hook and the chorus and "You're gorgeous" and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You're thinking, "Oh, this is really nice." But like I say, if you look a little bit deeper, it's not as nice as you thought it was the first time around. Same
Yeah.
the macaroon.
Yeah.
I grew up I was a child in the 90s. We used to sing that all the time. But when you really look into the lyrics, it's dark. It's dark when you think about it. But everybody still sings it because it's upbeat, poppy, But
Yeah. It's amazing. You could, if you, with that right, kind you hit that right melody and the right upbeat thing, you could fucking say anything. You could
yeah,
probably commit the worst, like, lyrical atrocities. It could have been, "You're gorgeous." I swear, if it had been "Heil Hitler, I'll do anything for you," they'd have probably still been singing that too.
I know. It's crazy.
I might be pushing it a little bit, but yeah.
I was saying to see that place, "Every Breath You Take." That's a really good shout. That is about stalking, and people still think it's a love song, but it's about being a stalker.
Yeah.
It is, it's mad.
Oh, fantastic! Music's great.
It is. People just need to read the lyrics before you sing it. If you just read them, just take 2 minutes, just have a quick read before you start singing stuff you might regret later on.
But then again, like I say, a good song is completely open to interpretation, but some songs aren't, because they have been written with a message, with a story to tell, and they are about that, and there's just no way around it, And
Yeah.
kind of ironically, it's those specific songs are the ones that people don't seem to realize. Like "Under the Bridge," Chili Peppers is
Yeah.
dances to it, and it's about drug addiction and substance abuse, and not exactly something you'd sing and enjoy. It's a cracking tune with a fantastic riff, not to take the entertainment side of music away, but yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
like a song by a band like that crosses over into the mainstream pop charts because it's funky and it's nice and it's up, but it's not really up at all. It's very, very down, actually.
Yeah, it's like, in a way, like in films as well. The same sort of idea of, it starts off looking quite nice and pleasant, then it can take a really sort of darker turn later on. The best example I can give you right now, I can think of, and it's a film I'm not really that bothered about, is The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. I don't know if you've ever seen that,
Yeah,
because that really messes with your head. It's the same sort of thing. It looks like you're living in some kind of like Amish community, some kind of 18th century sort of village, and there's this monster that's obviously around the village. But if I'm spoiling it for someone, I do apologise. But obviously later on you find out they're in the modern day, and it's that kind of thing that always it's crazy how in films and in music there's always where you can start off something sounding and looking amazing, and it ends up turning into something completely dark, or the other way around. It's amazing how people write that stuff.
So we'll continue to mix the two, movies and music. Do you have a favorite sort of movie soundtrack or score?
Now, do I? It's what I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm an absolute massive film buff. I don't mind watching the odd film. If you really had to pin me to an answer, it's going to be one of these. It's probably, I don't know. I could go through.
Say Star
Yeah,
Wars.
because I mean, there's definitely some Star Wars songs that I absolutely love. You know, it's really like ranging from sort of Luke and Leia's theme to the main march to the Cantina track. I can listen to all of them all day, no problem. You know, the Imperial March for you Darth Vader fans. You know, that kind of thing. It gives you a different feel. But it's yeah, oh yeah, I would definitely say Star Wars. Even down to sort of the more. Like Harry Potter's music as well. Like I do like Harry Potter films, and that music is the way
Same guy.
is
John Williams.
same guy exactly. You know, he's a fantastic
Oh my God.
conductor. He's so good.
I mean, real off the lead. You've got Star Wars. You've got the Christopher Reeve Superman theme. You have Jurassic Park. You have Harry Potter. You have Jaws.
Yeah.
You have the E.T. Which E.T. by the way scares the living bejesus out of me.
Yeah, I can believe that.
that little guy really, well, I don't know if scares the right word, but it really makes me uncomfortable.
It's freaky.
You know, like if I saw it, I would be able to run up and kick him, but then I'd run off really quickly. You know, leave him on the floor with his little legs like. But I fucking hate that guy.
I know what you mean.
Really unnerves me. You could just be like, you know, you're scrolling on your phone or a bus drives past. If for whatever reason there's a picture, it's one of those things. Then every time I blink, I see that fucking face for ages later. It's burnt in my brain, and my brain doesn't like it. You know, it really. I don't. In fact, I was to think. I haven't been saying your name too often because it's Elliot.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
And then the image will pop in my head, and then I'll be all freaked out. But look,
if it makes you better, when you got people coming up to you doing this, you kind of get you.
Look, if there's anybody out there going, "Oh, fuck you," right? let me put this to you, E.T. If that is indeed his real name, which I don't think it is, right? E.T. He has, right, a wrinkly appendage with like a bulbous end on it, which he extends and tries to touch kids with.
Well,
right?
Go.
Right? No. Not on my watch. Fuck that guy. Right? E.T. That's not your. What is his name? Savile? Spielberg? I want to know. Really,
I've opened up a conspiracy.
I don't. You know, I don't know what's going to get me more hate mail, like Lars Ulrich or slagging off ET. Probably ET. People tend to. It's not a great, happy fucking family movie. It's a horrible, unsettling, scary movie.
It's like we were saying. It's that kind of film that on the outset looks really. Oh, he's found an alien. He's trying to get it back to his home planet he wants to go on. But it's terrifying. I can remember watching bits of it being younger, and it's meant to be a family film, and it's terrifying. Like, why?
Somebody completely misread that memo.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
In the creature shop, the special effects department. I need a cute flower-picking alien, to hang out with these kids and be like their best friend, like you talk to your teddy bear, when you're younger, and that's what they came up with. The stuff of nightmares.
I know.
With
I know. It's
bulbous appendage. No.
It was when you hear the people go, it's a different time. It was a different time. It was a
different time. Now you see. Now look, Dark Crystal. I'm just pausing for any recognition for Dark Crystal.
It does ring a bell. Is it Jim Henson?
Jim Henson, puppet movie. Yeah. Now that's dark and terrifying, and how it was ever like a childhood favorite of millions, mine included. I can't imagine. Whenever I've watched it back as an adult, I'm like, how could I have even understood? Apart from like, oh look, puppets.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a film. It's slow paced and it's serious and it's a lot of talking. There's not a lot of like action or comedy or not a lot of spaceships flying around, no lightsabers. It's a lot of kind of politics and shit. And I like the older I get, the more I appreciate it, and more I like it, and more I just wonder how did we ever get into this when we were kids to be able to revere it so much now in the first place? That's a weird one.
It's not.
Labyrinth.
That's the thing. It's nostalgia. I look back at films I remember when I was growing up and thinking they were absolutely rubbish as an adult. And I'm probably going to get a few angry looks from friends of mine. Space Jam was a big film when I was little.
It
It's
was
not good.
huge.
No, it's not. It's rubbish. I've got to be honest. It was absolutely rubbish when you think about it.
Of course it is.
When you're 8 or 9, fantastic. There's Michael Jordan. He goes into Toonland. He has to fight off aliens by playing basketball. When you look back at it as an adult, it makes no sense whatsoever. I'm like, why did I even like this at 9 years old? Like I'm some kind of arbiter of taste of that. But
but there's a soundtrack. There's a soundtrack that I'll say is better than the film.
No,
there's a few tunes on that film.
There is, yeah. I mean, there's one guy we absolutely no more. We can't talk about him. But the rest of them, yeah, they're great. So, but as a film, it was rubbish. And I know people, my friends who may watch this or watch it back, will probably shout at me for it. But I'm willing to die on the sword. I'm sorry, I don't like Space Jam.
So back to Three of Swords, or yourself personally as a musician, I guess currently via Three of Swords. But is there anything, some kind of, what would be that defining moment where you almost like sit back and go like, we've made it, we've hit the big time? Like playing a particular venue, we get to play Madison Square Garden. Hey, we finally made it. Or is it just signing a major record deal, or having your song featured somewhere specific or something?
I think, and I hope that I speak the same for the rest of the band, it is to make, I know we have talked about making an album at some point, which I think for us would be the pinnacle. Being able to make a fully made, we discussed like having it on vinyl and CD. Because I'm a vinyl collector, so I would love it on vinyl. Just to have a tangible piece of actual album, I think, of sorts would be fantastic. And I know it's something we've kind of floated the idea around if we should do an album and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that would be the main one, I think, for us. Having an actual record, I think. Willing to say, this is our album, this is what we've put so much time into. We've had that, we've been planning it for months, like how we would do it, how we could make it a thing. But yeah, I think it would be an album. I think our first debut album instead of having EPs.
That's great, because it's achievable. You just need enough songs and enough money.
That's
it. And you can do it. We can do it now. You don't have to wait for some guy tapping you on the shoulder after a show going, "Hey kids, come with me, I'm gonna make you a star."
Yeah,
because it doesn't fucking happen, for one thing. If anybody out there is actually, if you're playing this weekend or whatever, and you've been playing and you're waiting and expecting that to happen, it doesn't happen. It hasn't happened since about 1978. It just isn't a thing. Record companies don't do that. They don't have scouts. It's not a job you can get anymore. You don't go around the country or the world checking out gigs, trying to find that hidden gem, trying to convince your boss, "I've seen these guys, they're really cool, they've got this following, the fans went wild, and I really dig their sound, man," and getting them recorded. No, it's just not a thing. It doesn't happen. Record companies are incredibly lazy, and they want you to pay for everything. They want you to somehow create a massive following on your own, which is a little easier with the internet and shit these days. Wants you to pay for like loads of professional photography shots and stuff of yourself, come up with an image, a gimmick, get your hairstyles right and everything, make the album, and then send them that entire press package so that they can just look at the already finished article and then take all the money that you should have got by selling it.
Yeah.
That's not to put anybody off gigging. Get out there gigging. That's the best thing, is to still be out there performing live, I think. But if you're waiting for that touch on the shoulder, stop doing that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to have to go in. My battery is about to die.
Okay.
My charger's not. I'm going to have to. So, but I've enjoyed talking to you. It's been really good.
It has. It's been really good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been Elliot Bauer from Three of Swords. Three of Swords. That's your new favourite band that you're all going to be checking out, liking, following. I'm sure they'll be gigging sometime soon, somewhere near you. In fact, I know for a fact they are.
Yeah.
When's the next gig?
9th of March. Make Noise, or Better Known as Practice Sheffield. We're playing with them Screaming Teeth, Banther, and Osprey. So it's going to be a good one. 7 p.m.
We got the plug-in and everything, and we've got to know each other a little better. And you know what? I'd like to do this again. We'll keep in touch. Has he gone? Well, just technology, kids. It's at the end. Beautiful friend. Well, anyway, I'll just reiterate. Here we go. So, that was Three of Swords, bass player Elliot Bauer. Three of Swords. Three of Swords. Fighty swords. Fantastic band. I'm late to the party. Only recently been put onto them, but loving what I'm hearing so far. Definitely want to check out. Playing Sheffield in March. Check them out on the socials. So, I guess that's it then. This has been fun. It's been me again. I'm back. I'm back next Thursday. We're going to do this again. I'm back with Katrina Tia Charles. Good feeling. That's going to be a fun one. So you'll be wanting to check that out. And